All right, we're back, and as I promised, some real cheer for the holiday season, and a lady who has continues to write the most successful series of books in terms of mystery that I think anybody could ask for. It's the Lexie Starr series, and Starr is spelled with two R's. It is published by epublishingworks.com. You can go to epublishingworks.com, barnesandnoble.com, Amazon.com. And welcome to the show, because I'm going to have you get into all the books. You've just got a title called Spirit of the Season, which is a fundraiser for Toys for Tots. So welcome, and it's a pleasure, Jeannie.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you, too.
It's Jeanne Glidewell. I want to give out her website, Jeanne, Glidewell.com. So tell me, how did all this come to be?
My husband and I owned a large RV park in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I was having a lot of health issues. I'd had a fluke pulmonary cardiac arrest when I was 46, and I had to be resuscitated and put on life support. They had told my husband at the time I might not make it through the night, and then when they did, they warned him I might not be the same. They thought I might have suffered some brain damage from the oxygen deprivation, but fortunately, the only thing that was adversely affected was my memory. But unfortunately, a memory impairment can make writing novels challenging at times. For example, I had a mastiff puppy in my Lexie Starr book 4 that magically morphed into a full-grown Rottweiler in book 5. However, there are always a few readers out there who are all too happy to point out any inaccuracies they find. So I basically just tell them I do it intentionally to make sure that my readers are paying attention. So anyway, following that incident in 2004, I was a really sick puppy for a couple of years. And then in 2006, divine intervention saved me again. I became the recipient of a pancreas and kidney transplant. And it was like the ultimate gift from the family of a child who had lost his life. And as a way of giving back, I became a mentor for the Kansas City Gift of Life program. And while I have this platform, I'd like to encourage everyone to opt to be a tissue and organ donor. There's something like 22 people dying every day who are on the organ waiting list, and it's totally unnecessary. I think people, they need to remember that without organ donors, they or a loved one could end up being included in those grim statistics. And so, we need more people who are generous enough to donate their organs when they no longer need them.
And you certainly are, and I really commend you for what you're doing. I want to ask you, who do you think your mysteries appeal to, and why so many readers?
Well, I think my main audience is probably middle-aged women, but I'm surprised how many reviews are coming from men who seem to like it too. My writing style is really lighthearted and fast-paced, and it seems to appeal to readers. I don't dedicate 3 pages to describing the wallpaper on the wall, or, I try to keep the story moving. I also include a lot of humor in my mysteries, and from the feedback I get, that seems to be one of the main things they like about my cozies. Plus, readers in general tend to like series. They get to know these people, kind of think of them as friends, and, they like to see their lives unfold from one book to the next.
Jeannie, how many books have you written, and how many are under the Lexie Starr Cozy Mystery Series? I know you're following up here with a brand new series, Roaring Good Time, etc. Why don't you clarify that for people? The
Lexie Starr series has 6 books and this novella we're talking about in it. And then I spun off into the Ripple Effect series. And the first book, A Rip-Roaring Good Time, in that series actually involves the main characters from both series. And it was kind of like a shameless ploy to drag my faithful Lexie Starr series into my new series. But there's the first book I actually wrote was a romance suspense that wasn't even a cozy mystery, but that's kind of how I got started writing. So now I have written 10 books, and I'm working on the 11th.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, are they all, in a sense, sequential, or do you deviate from the theme and have them, in a sense, disconnected but just different stories?
Well, some people don't pick up the books in order, so you really have to make them all be able to stand on their own. But for people who do read them in order, they kind of follow a natural sequence. So it's probably better for a reader to read them in order, but it's not necessary. I have the same main characters in every book, but the other characters are all changed from book to book.
Well, how does your stream of thought work in being successful? I'm particularly interested, since you're an extraordinarily successful author, how you write these books. Is it all mapped out, outlined, planned in advance, or as the story goes on, you begin to figure out what happens, and you're almost constructing the story as you go along?
Well, that's exactly right. I don't write an outline. I know a lot of people prefer to write from an outline, but I'm like a reader. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next chapter. It's almost like the characters write themselves. I have not known until the last chapter who the killer was, and I have gone back and changed the killer after I finished the book. So to me, it's just spontaneous. It just comes. I can sit down at the computer and it just comes out of nowhere. There's like no rhyme or reason, no outline. It's the way I am. That's the only way I can write, I guess.
What is more difficult in doing these books? I have to talk present and future because I want to talk about what's coming up in 2016. Is it more difficult to develop the storyline or the characters?
I guess the storyline. The characters really develop themselves, at least to me they do. But my stories are, my characters are kind of eccentric, and they get into some crazy situations. So, the sky's the limit as far as coming up with a storyline.
Well, are there any particular charities that you'd like people to contact to contribute? Because you've been very, very generous in terms of what you choose to have as a donation. Can you recommend anyone for our listeners, or just buy the books and you'll make sure that the attention?
Well, yeah, the spirit of the season is this holiday novella that I wrote to benefit the Toys for Tots program, and I think everybody should, if they can afford a $10 gift, should donate a gift or two to their local chapters, because just for instance, Corpus Christi, I'm down here in Rockport, Texas at a winter home right now, and on the news a couple nights ago, the coordinator for the Toys for Tots program in Corpus Christi, he said they had orders for 19 requests to provide toys for 19,000 children, and they'd like to give 3 toys each. They didn't even have enough yet to provide 1 toy to all 19,000 kids, and Christmas is 2 weeks away. So, I mean, I can't imagine anything more heartbreaking than a kid who thinks Santa didn't think they were worthy of a present. So, what's a cup of Starbucks coffee? $3 or $4. For 2 cups of coffee, you can put a smile on a child's face that has a hard road to hoe. So, but also, in this new series, I'm planning to write a novella for next year about homeless vets. My husband's 100% disabled by the VA for PTSD. He spent 3 tours in Vietnam, and he's working right now with some other Vietnam vets. They're restoring a donated building in Kansas City and turning it into temporary housing for homeless vets. And I think that's a real worthy cause. So I will be writing a book about homeless vets and donating the royalties to helping them get back on their feet when they get released from the service.
God bless you, and God bless your husband. Talk about what we can look forward to for 2016, a little more detail. I know we'll Rip Your Heart Out is one. What have you got planned for 2016 with the spinoff? Okay.
Well, Rip Your Heart Out is going to be the title of this holiday novella that I plan to write next year. Any day now, I have the second book coming out. It's called Riptide, and it takes place here in Rockport, where I'm in right now. And I've started on the third book, which is called Rip to Shreds. Every book in this series is going to have the word Rip in it. My characters are named Rip and Repel or Ripple. And the new series is called the Ripple Effect series. And so I plan to get this third book out and get the novella out in 2016, and then start on book 4.
Jeannie, if someone were to say to you, and I know it's a difficult question to answer because there are so many mystery series books written, why should they buy yours? Can you distinguish what you do either in style and content from others? You get about 10 seconds.
Well, I think the humor. I think it's the humor in my book.